Thank you, thank you. Oh, Hertz Feel Out Hadera. The May we be blessed as we go on our way. I've never thought about it, but we could. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of my favorites. Where were you in Westchester?
Yeah, no, I kind of figured that would be somewhere in the
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you for being here.
Got it. Uh-huh. Got it. Uh-huh.
These weekends, you know, I come in and leave. Sure. It's not other things going on, you know, that would be great. Other association. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't come to see
My
us.
husband would have been nice to you.
We have exactly my siblings. That's the way
We have exactly what you meant.
All right.
We'd figure something out.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is like the earliest Shabbat time of the year.
I was gonna say, right? It has to be.
Yeah.
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 Feels that way, even if we didn't know that. It
Got very
feels-
dark very early today,
Yes,
which
it
does
did.
make sense.
Yes, it does.
So Neil, what supposedly happened to me at
the weather is horrendous. I said, right, I'm getting in my car.
You ran it out?
I what?
You ran it? It's not.
It wasn't me.
And my door.
Never worked at Bucknell.
My driver.
I asked her if
I
she could
probably,
read in about now. She
I
said,
probably
maybe when I
either
was
played
playing rugby.
soccer or rugby in college, like 36, 37 years ago. Maybe I was there. Is that what you're talking about? I think they I might have like heard somebody tackling them, I don't know.
Jen, he's here somewhere. Whoa, oh, now I remember why this feels so loud.
It does feel very
Yes, no, I forgot we had a kids thing.
Oh, let's see.
All right,
Yellow cards.
very good.
I was just gonna go.
No, look, I will adjust that.
And we thought they should have like, you know.
Val and Wendy, would you guys do candles tonight for us? If, you don't have to if you don't want to. Yeah, okay. Wendy, you don't have to if it's
As
up.
long as you'll sing, because I'm not a good singer.
I could do whatever you need.
Sorry, Bob.
I think.
Ta.
Exactly.
I can pick up.
The Binder tune, right? Is that what you guys do?
The what?
Binder?
You know what? I would have.
Is it
I would have.
Binder?
You
I actually don't know off the
I
top of my
kind of
head.
assume in most cases that it is him,
It very well might be.
just because I'm usually wrong one way or the other.
He sent in it. Right? I was running the back.
Well, I guess we could start further away from the microphone.
We could. Yeah, it's fine.
There we go. Okay, try that. That feels much less intense.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's-
Better.
that is
better. Much better.
That is better.
Okay. All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay. So, welcome, Rabbi Val Lieber,
Wendy Lieber, who will. Wendy, is that last day? Zinger. In this space, we'll go. Certainly also with if that's. But we're honored to have you as a whole family all back here in Sag Harbor, and you're home, no matter what, right? Whether you're, Lieber or not Lieber, and no matter what, this family always most welcome here, and we'd be honored if you'd light and bless our Shabbat candles tonight on page 120, and I believe Will help us out a little bit with the singing piece of the puzzle. Yeah, come on.
Page 100 and what?
20. I'll help with this piece just because this seems to be the confounding part of the notes.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you so much. So we'll turn now to page 130 as we begin Kabbalat Shabbat together toward the very top of the page. Again, page 130. Lechu neranina Adonai nariya letzor ishenu. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu nekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu bizmirod naria lo. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina l'Adonai. Now on page 131, Shiru l'Adonai in the middle of the page. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru vagoyim kevodo bechol ha'amim niflotav ki gadol Adonai umhulal meod norahu al kol Elohim yaidai shiru l'Adonai shir chadash shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo basru miyom leyom yeshuato. Turn now to page 132, Or Zarua, at the very bottom of the page. Or Zarua latzadik, uleishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua latzadik,
tzaddik, uleishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzaddikim ba'Adonai, vehodu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzaddikim ba'Adonai, vehodu lezecher kodsho.
We'll turn now to page 134 at the very top.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekol zimra, b'chatzotzrot vekol shofar, hari lifnei hamelech Adonai. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekol zimra, b'chatzotzrot vekol shofar, hari lifnei hamelech Adonai. Yiram hayamum lo, tevel veyoshveva, neharot imcha uchav yachad, harim yiranenu, lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'amim b'meisharim. Yiram hayamum lo, tevel ve'yoshveva, neharot imcha uchav yachad, harim yiranenu.
We're now on page 135.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho.
We'll turn now to the 29th Psalm on page 136.
Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al maim rabim, Adonai al maim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel Levanon veSirion, kemo veneremim, kemo veneremim, Kol Adonai chotzev lahavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai echol elai alot, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
We'll turn now to the Chadodi on page 138. We'll do the first, second, fifth, and ninth paragraphs. For the final one, we'll rise and face the doors as we walked through just a few moments ago.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו, אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך, קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה, ובצולתוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We'll turn now to page 140.
צדיקת אמר יפרח, כרז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים להגיד, כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולת בו.
We Now rise in body or spirit as we turn to the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144 and remain standing for the Baruch Hu on the next page. Yitkadal vehitkadash shemei rabba
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei V'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman kariv veimeru. Amen. Yesh me'rabba mevarach ve'alam li'amei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha richu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Please be seated. We'll read together now on the top of page 149 in English. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Avir yom umevi laila, avdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzebaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam vaed, Baruch ata Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Amari v'aravi.
Amen. We'll turn now to page 150 and we'll read together in English towards the bottom of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei omam v'layla, ve'avatcha tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch ata Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please join us on page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha. Ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'eleh, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'shochbecha u'vkumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, ve'hayu etotafot b'einecha, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's read together now on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to page 158.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokea yam lifnei Moshe. Zelianu ve'amru, Zelianu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'amar kifed Adonai et Yaakov, u'galo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. Let there be love and understanding among us, and peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Ashkivenu is on page 160.
Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomereinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu, uvoenu, lechaim ushalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomereinu lechaim.
Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim.
Amen.
We turn to Vishamru on page 162.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vaynafash, shavat vaynafash, shavat vaynafash. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we begin the Amidah together on page 164. From that point on, we'll continue silently. As always, please go at your own pace. When you're finished at the end, if you're still standing, you may be seated.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai open lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen, amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen.
We'll turn now to page 371 as we offer our Misha Berach this evening. We begin by thinking of those in our community and connected to our community who are in need of healing. Tonight we're thinking of Allegra Himmel, Lori Hertzen, Madeline Engelfeld, Rachel Bat Marsha, Sue Wartor, Abigail Blum, Kate Sherwood, Bensi Tepper, Ame and Warren Cass, Rivka Bat Rachel, Lorraine Danis, David Dowling, Sylvia Devora Bat Francis, Shelley Newmark, Diane Axelrod, Gabriella Spicer, David Kyle Klotman, Lorraine Davis, Kim Birnbaum, Deborah Block-Kroll, Sylvia Orn, Rachel Bat Ora, Peretz Ben Shlomo, and Israel Ben Yitzchak. In addition to those names that we just shared, if anyone is thinking of anyone else this evening, we'll start on this side of the room and then to this side of the room, and if we have names to share, just raise a hand so we acknowledge everyone. Let's see.
We'll join
Peretz,
together in the
sorry, just trying to remember one name. Peretz, Ben, Harav, Shlomo, Zalman.
We'll join together in the middle of page 371. Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We offer now our prayer for Israel in time of war. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, you know that the Jewish people are one nation with one heart, and now that heart is broken. O healer of broken hearts, binder of their wounds, be with our brothers and sisters who've been taken captive, and with the families of the victims. Watch over the hostages, break their bonds, and bring them out from darkness to light. Proclaim release to the captives, liberation to the imprisoned. Comfort the families, bring them under the shelter of your wings. Bring complete healing of body and spirit to all of the wounded. Bind up our wounds and grant us healing. Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, rock and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel, the initial manifestation of our redemption. Shield it with your care, spread over it your shelter of peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Grace them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend us. Crown their efforts with victory. Bless the land with peace, its inhabitants with lasting joy. Shomer Yisrael, guardian of Israel. Strengthen and bless the defenders of Israel, who stand guard on the land and the air and on the sea. May we see the promise of the psalmist realized. You turned my mourning into dancing, my sackcloth into robes of joy. God, protect, preserve, and restore peace and well-being to Israel, your people, and together we say,
Amen.
Amen. So I'm not sure exactly how many weeks ago it was, but our incredible student cantor, Will, came up to me and asked whether it would be possible for him to share some words of Torah. And as I said to you then, as I said to you tonight, as I'll say to you always, that this bima is as much yours as it is mine, and the fact that you want to share, again, you know, the depth and the breadth of your wisdom and your being with our community is such a gift. So, Will, thank you for taking the time, for preparing for tonight, for sharing some Torah with us, and very much, you know, as Will is growing in his position as a student cantor, you know, these are the things that we treasure here. So know how much we appreciate it and how much I am very much looking forward to hearing what you have to teach us tonight.
Thank you. And thank you. Shabbat Shalom. This past Monday, I found myself walking down Broadway back towards HUC's campus on West 4th Street as I was stopped by a couple of tourists pointing towards the 8th Street subway station, and they asked me if they could take this train to get to Times Square. And I said, yeah, but on the other side of the street, because that's the side that goes uptown. And they thanked me, and they went on their way, and I assume they made it to Times Square, but in all likelihood, I'll never see these people again in my life. And I wouldn't have thought much of this interaction except for something that happens in this week's Parsha. In this week's Parsha, Vayeshev, we first encounter a young man by the name of Joseph, and we learn many things about Joseph. He's the 11th of Jacob's 12 sons. He's the first son that Jacob has with his favorite wife, Rachel, and by extension, Joseph becomes Jacob's favorite son. And his brothers know this, and they hate him for that. And they hate him even more because he tells them about dreams that he has that seem to imply that he intends to rule over them. So, one day, Jacob sends his beloved Joseph to check in on his 10 eldest sons, who he sent to tend to his flock in Shechem. But when Joseph gets there, he finds that his brothers are nowhere to be found. And the Torah tells us only of one person with whom Joseph interacts in Shechem. A man came upon him wandering in the field. The man asked him, "What are you looking for?" Joseph then replies that he's looking for his brothers, and he asks the man if he knows where his brothers have gone. And the man says, "Yes, I do. They've gone on to Dotan." And so Joseph goes to find his brothers in Dothan, and that's the end of the interaction between Joseph and this man in the field. And then begins the story that we're so familiar with, right? Joseph's brothers plot to kill him. Reuben, the eldest, lessens their plot and suggests instead to throw him into a pit. Judah, the second eldest, then leads the charge by which Joseph is sold into slavery in Egypt. Joseph is then brought into Egypt by Ishmaelite traders, and thus Joseph becomes the first, but certainly not the last, Hebrew to be enslaved in Egypt. But I want to rewind for just one moment to the man that Joseph meets in the field. Who is he, and why is the Torah telling us about him? Rashi asserts that this man is the angel Gabriel, and Rashi bases this claim on similarity in the Hebrew between this verse and another verse in the book of Daniel, where the man is referred to as Ha'ish, the man, and in the book of Daniel, the angel Gabriel is explicitly named. And for a while, I found Rashi's commentary quite comforting. He's using the angel Gabriel to explain divine timing. But the longer that I sat with Rashi's explanation, the less comfortable I became with it, because I don't believe that that's how divine timing works. I don't believe that angels literally appear in front of us on our way and tell us which paths to take in life. But I do believe in people who, when they're open to it, God can work through and can then become partners in the creation of divine timing. A few weeks ago, I was sitting around a table with some of my classmates, and we were discussing our journeys to either rabbinic or cantorial school. And one common thread that kept appearing in all of our stories was that someone, somewhere along the way, pointed us back in the right direction. And without the intervention of these people, however small it might have seemed at the time, we wouldn't have been sitting around that table. And so I think it is for many, if not most of us as well, that at some point in our lives, some interaction with someone that might seem very small at the time actually ends up being what sets our lives in motion. And that's where the man in the field comes into the story. So unlike Rashi, I don't believe that the man is the angel Gabriel. I believe that that man is all of us, or rather he could be any of us, and we always have the potential to be the man in the field. For if we can point to a moment in our lives where someone has redirected us and changed the course of our stories, perhaps so much that it enables us to fulfill our soul's purpose, dare I say, of what we came to this world to do, is it not also our duty to show up for someone else? Our sages teach of a concept called midah keneged midah, which literally translates into measure for measure. And in a nutshell, it is the Jewish idea of karma. What goes around comes around. There are favors in our lives that we can never repay except to do the same for someone else that someone has once done for us. Sometimes in our lives, we are Joseph, desperately in need of redirection, so that we can fulfill our purpose. But sometimes, and only if we're open to it, we are the man in the field, the person who God works through in order to redirect a Joseph. And it's in opening ourselves up to the stranger in front of us, seeing a need, however great or small, and meeting that moment, which is the lesson of the man in the field, showing up when someone is lost in front of you. And that's how divine timing is created, I believe. But before you go on, think that I'm trying to paint divine timing as the process by which we get to pick the easiest path in life to walk. We need to look back at the story of Joseph. For Joseph's life is not easy in the slightest after this interaction with the man in the field. In fact, it's his interaction with the man in the field which sends him into the darkest period of his life. But if we look at the text in our parsha, we find a single phrase consisting of 4 words that repeats itself 3 times throughout Joseph's imprisonment in Egypt. Vayehi Adonai et Yosef, and God was with Joseph. For it's Joseph's emunah, his faith in God, which enables him to rise from the depths of the pit, to ascend through the ranks of Pharaoh's household, so that one day, after famine strikes the land of Canaan, he can save his brothers from famine. The very brothers who wronged him, who sold him into slavery, Joseph saves. Why? If we look at this through the lens of midah keneged midah, Joseph's brothers have not done anything to make them worthy of being saved. And that's true. Joseph's brothers do not inherently merit redemption, but within this concept of midah keneged midah, we have to remember that our experience in one lifetime is not the sum total of what sets divine timing in motion. In the book of Isaiah, we read two verses which I believe provide a key insight into this very matter. God has declared, "My plans are not your plans, nor are my ways your ways. For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so are my ways high above your ways, and my plans above your plans." And if we stop at the end of the book of Genesis in a few weeks' time, we come to a beautiful image of Joseph reunited with his brothers and his fathers and his father. But we know that this family reunion is not the end of the story, for this generation does not exist in a vacuum. It's this generation, Joseph's generation, which brings the sons of Israel into Egypt. But it's only generations later, in Moses' generation, when a Pharaoh rises over Egypt who knows not Joseph, that we're able to finally zoom out and see the picture for what it is. For Joseph was not sent to Egypt simply to save his brothers from famine in the land of Canaan. Joseph, vis-a-vis the intervention of the man in the field, found his way into Egypt, or rather was redirected into Egypt, so that generations later, the stage would be set for Moses to lead the Israelites from slavery in Egypt into freedom. A story that is so central to our very identity as Jews that in a few months' time, we will read in the Haggadah, in each and every generation, it is required that each man looks at himself as if he left Egypt. It is for this very teaching, that our tradition holds so central why Joseph had to go into Egypt. It is so that today, in 2024, I can look you all in the eyes and in complete and utter honesty tell you that I believe that it is through our pain and through our trials and through our darkness that God brings us out, pulls us out to the other side, to freedom, to the promised land, if, and only if, we are able to remember and trust that through the darkness, we are not alone. We have never been alone, never truly alone. And if we are able to look at our lives and recognize ourselves in the story of Joseph, recognize that we have been guided by forces greater than ourselves, only able to connect the dots years later, in the story of becoming the people that we were always meant to be, then I believe it is our duty to show up for someone else. So give the stranger directions. Help the person who can never help you in return. You never know where their journey might lead. It might save us all from famine one day, or maybe, just maybe, a generation of our descendants, one day far from now, will merit a redemption so great that we cannot even fathom it. And then, after crossing their proverbial sea, that generation will look back in gratitude at a nameless man in a field. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
I invite us all to rise as we turn to page 586 at the bottom of the page, Aleinu L'Shabbat.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit kirula liotzer bereshit, shelo asam kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim ubodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
I invite those in mourning, those observing yahrzeit, to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who've passed in our community in recent months. Heather Abrams, David Aminoff, Louise Crandall, Mal Daphner, Judith Berry Emanuel, Barbara Goldfarb, Lita Goldsmith, Barbara Kushner, Ann Lieber, Robert Lykoff, Jeffrey Miller, James Pappas, Danielle Rigg, Janice Samble, William Speck, Harlan Spitz, Charles Spiropoulos, Ronald Tempowski, Alan Stephen Weinstein, Ronald Weller, and Susan Wolfson. We also mark the yahrzeits that occurred during the last week for Harry Abdrakin, Augusta Axelrod, Tessie Bender, Ariel Cherish, Fred Eber, Ellen Frank, Iago Galdston, Aaron Gastworth, Rain Kellman, Victor Kessler, Mary Kirshner, Janet Leonard, Leah Levine, William Littman, Michael London, Richard Peak, Morris Peskowitz, Sam Prober, Lillian Ronick, Bob Schneider, Amy Shapiro, Meyer Simon, Evelyn Steinberg, Judith Steyer, Zanya Verrett, Pearl Weinstein, Ralph Weinstein, and Walter Schwab. In addition to those names that I just shared, is anyone else saying Kaddish for anyone we didn't mention? I'll invite the mourners to join with me on page 598, and if it's your custom to rise alongside them, you may do so at this time. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'li'omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Hoseh shalom bimromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. Shabbat shalom, everyone, and kol hakavod to you, Will. Truly. I think the only thing I would say is that if you were really trying to help the tourist, you would have told them how to get away from Times Square.
That's very
not
true.
towards it.
That's very true.
You know, but in all seriousness, I remember my days as a student personally, my days with other students. To be able to deliver such a thoughtful sermon, one that is constructed in a way that, again, is very much you, very much at the heart of who you are, make it for our community here, and do all of that while doing finals, is truly a remarkable thing. And I hope you feel as you should about sharing something like that, because it really is a gift. It really is an absolute gift to us to hear your Torah and to give us things to think about. A parsha that, again, a lot of times we've heard the story so many times. What is left to talk about? Right? The one person we overlook, the Ish, the guy that doesn't get a name, right? Very special stuff. Wonderfully done. Really wonderfully done.
Thank you.
Kol hakavod. So, a few quick announcements. Join us next door, of course, for our Oneg Shabbat. A reminder that our Late Led Minyan is on Sundays at 9:30. Our services tomorrow, getting ahead of myself, begin tomorrow at 10. Torah study at noon. Also welcoming, of course, anyone who'd like to join us online. Also a reminder that we will celebrate and start the holiday of Hanukkah together at the Wharf, 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening. And, from the looks of it, dress warm. It looks like it is going to be that kind of weather. But we'll have jelly donuts, we'll have hot chocolate, we'll have good times, we'll have singing. We won't have Will, but we'll do our very, very best. And I think we are still accepting for the drives. I want to make sure, I didn't get my announcement sheet this morning, but I believe that we're still collecting things, especially for Ola and for Maureen's Haven. So check your e-blasts. Don't trust me. Check the e-blasts, check the flyers out there, make sure. Thank you to everybody that already has given so much to make a really great thing. Andy?
And to sign up to help out with another Maureen's Haven.
Excellent.
Weekend.
And do you know when the next one is by any chance? The 29th. So it's towards the end of the month. Excellent. So always looking for volunteers, always looking for help. Big ways, small ways, everything that we can do. So Andy, thank you for that. Wonderful. I'm not sure. Anti-Semitism Committee have a meeting this week. I'm not sure. Check your e-blast. Always a good thing to do for sure. And a thank you also to everybody who helped to make for a wonderful Hanukkah party last week. It was really great. We missed you, but
Sorry, I couldn't be.
no. But as I said, actually, that you're giving us and helping us to get music sheets for music to be
Yeah.
played. We wouldn't find it otherwise. So you were, even though you weren't there, your
was there in
presence was
spirit,
felt.
yeah.
So very much appreciate that. So how can we close tonight before Kiddush?
We're going to close on page 627 with Shalom Aleichem.
Beautiful.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Rise for Kiddush on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam b'horei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza b'hanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava v'ratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta, Beotanu kidashta, Mikol hamim, V'shabbat kodshecha, Ve'ahava u'v'ratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
I'll just make a public service announcement. Our regular Torah thing, our challah thing disappeared. So if anybody sees it, it was a gift from Lauren, so we don't want to lose that. But if anybody sees it anywhere in the building, let us know. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Amotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.